Selling in the billions each year, Rainbow Mealworms is your one-stop shop for all your insect needs. Their quality feeders and A-plus customer service keep me coming back to support the health and growth of all of our animals. Visit them today at rainbowmealworms.net to place your order. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Geeky Gecko Creations Live Monday. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're watching this back, welcome. My name is Frank, and what we like to do here is just talk about geckos on Monday nights, take live questions, and yeah, just have about an hour or so of a good time of, enjoying the reptile hobby as well as, talking to you guys. So sorry for the late notification today for anyone who's expecting. I normally notify you guys like way ahead of time earlier in the day for the stream. But I am trying to be more consistent now. And this was kind of the last, it was the last minute notification for you guys. So sorry, I can't read your name, but it says, "Hi, I'm a Korean breeder. Really good to meet you. I was just looking at some Korean geckos. Korea has some of the best leopard geckos in the hobby, and I can show that to you here. I might do some wheeling and dealing with this person in the future, but getting Korean imports and whatnot is not always the cheapest or easiest. But if you already have a connection, then it could be beneficial. And this person seems to already have a connection. I think this person's wife is Korean. And so this is like the type of stuff that they're importing from Korea. And so it gave me hope that, if I ever want a really high quality Black Knight male to replace ours, that I could go to these guys and find one. And if I don't create my own backup male. So I haven't created my own backup male just yet. So I'm keeping my eyes peeled for some good replacement breeders. So Bam Bam Geckos, I got first looks of the Mango Crush from Gecko Daddy. They look awesome. Where is that? On his website or something? We could take a look at that together. The Mango Crush. So kind of a spin off of the Tango Crush, I'm guessing. Or maybe he just showed you privately, but definitely interested in that. Mr. Wizard Official, what's going on? Norman Davis, Ashley Cox, Ashley and Dan from Garden of the Geckos. Really cool name. Korea is very good. BTS. I do like me some BTS. I can't lie. Oh, okay. So yeah, Nevada just had their one of their reptile expos. Yeah, I can't wait to go to a reptile expo in Nevada. I think that'll be super fun. Yeah, I'm really excited to like grow our collection to the point where it'll be beneficial or like worth it for me to travel from state to state and just have fun meeting people, showing off geckos and meeting new people in the hobby. Yeah, Salt Lake City Expo. Really cool. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Nevada is increasing the amount of reptile shows that they've had, because I've just started hearing more about it, it seems like recently. Usually you hear about like the California shows, the Texas shows, the Chicago shows, but I've been seeing numerous people across social media talking about the Nevada shows. So that's pretty cool. And that's pretty close to us as well. So going back to school tomorrow, what is that? That is so that you're heading into the fall then, I guess, your fall season, so to speak. It's kind of end of summer, but I don't know, the way they break up the school year nowadays. So I'm a bit tired today, so I might need you guys to like help carry me through having a conversation. This was our biggest shipping day ever. I've never sent out this many animals at once. And though it might not be a lot to some, it was a lot for me today, especially since I have to do stuff in between the animals and I'm just by myself. And so talking to customers, answering emails, phone calls, texts about numerous things, and preparing this order has really put me through the ringer today. I think I even passed out. I came home after dropping off the animals and passed out for like 5 minutes. And I usually don't do that. And then I do have some work that I want to do tonight. So I might just make this a short live stream. But there, if you're talking about this shirt, this is our Geeky Gecko shirt. It's pretty cool. I like it. We're sold out of these right now, and I haven't purchased a new order yet, but I probably will be purchasing a new order. And we're gonna come up with different styles. So like we would have like a red colored logo or a black colored logo on different colored shirts. And I do like customization and the ability for you guys to choose. So I try to come up with um, as many colors as possible for you guys to choose. Last time I did that, there was like 20 colors for you guys to choose from, and I think it was a bit overwhelming because I can't order that many colors. If I order that many colors, then it's not too good of a business move because some people don't want those colors and it's more expensive. It's a better, you get more bang for your buck if you just pick like 2 or 3 colors and order those in bulk versus, trying to pre-order like 100 shirts or whatever at certain colors to get those bulk prices. You have to find a customer for each one of those colors ahead of time, and it can be a bit tough. Tango Crush and Jungle would be cool because as of right now, the Tango Crush is like the key characteristics of it is primarily like a Charmander, right? Like an all orange gecko. But I think, and correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I think bringing in some pattern manipulation and some jungle wonkiness to it and dark and bold like spotting and striping and stuff would be excellent. Yeah. I just believe it's Tango Crush in white and yellow to make the Mango Crush. That's awesome. I love it. Names are great. Naming stuff is really fun and creating different combinations and whatnot. So I do have something on my mind that I kind of want to talk to you guys about. I love talking to you guys. I love these live streams. And we have a lot of success with these live streams and the Friday night live streams. But I really want to focus on growing our YouTube channel. And for me to do that, I would need to put extra time into making more videos and editing. So right now, we currently have 2 live streams a week and 1 video. Last week, I released our top 5 rarest Lepre Gecko morphs on Wednesday, and that did really, really good. That's our number 1 performing video ever. So I've been making YouTube videos for 2 years now. That video got like 3,000 views in the first like 4 days. It's absolutely insane. That's like astronomically, those numbers are way past what I normally get. And so it gave me some encouragement to, number 1, stick with a regular schedule of videos, but number 2, also make more videos on a regular schedule. So this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of either I'm thinking, so right now we have 2 live streams a week and 1 video release a week. I would like to flip that. I would like to shoot, edit, and release 2 videos a week and only do 1 live stream a week. And on Fridays, where we have our guest live stream. Last week, I was testing it out a little bit more to like focus on the questions and make sure I got to those and not just like, just talking to the person, so that it's kind of like a 2-for-1. It's like you get your questions answered, we get to talk about those topics, but you also get to meet a new guest and talk about their topics and the things that they got going on in the hobby. So kind of looking for some input or some suggestion from you guys. I'm either thinking of, I think Monday, Wednesday, Friday are the 3 days that I want to make content on. So I can either release a video on Monday and Friday and do a live stream Wednesday, or I could release a video on like Wednesday and Friday and do a live stream Monday, or I could release a video on Monday, Wednesday and keep our guest live stream Friday. So those are kind of the questions that I'm looking at right now. And one of the reasons that I'm looking into it is because my time and energy is starting to be spread a little bit thin between doing the 2 live streams, and if I was to add 2 videos a week and do 2 live streams a week, I just think it'd be a bit much. So I'm looking to kind of just downsize for now to like 2 videos a week and 1 live stream a week. Now, I really like the guest live stream, but it is a big burden for me to make sure that like the guests are there and to make sure that they show up. But if they don't show up, then I could always just do the live stream with you guys that day. Easy peasy, no problem. I don't have to get, frustrated or upset or anything like that. Because number one, it's just not right, to get upset in those situations. So, and number two, it would also still be a beneficial live stream because if the guests can't make it, I could do this with you guys. We could have our one-on-one like I normally do with you guys on Monday nights. Black Panther NV. Okay. Yeah, Henry Hicks, Ace, Black Panther, Sugugu, Bam Bams. So you guys kind of tell me what you guys are thinking. I really like your videos with info on geckos. Really like that new video. Thank you so much. And I have plans to make more videos like that new video. So the top 5 rarest leopard gecko morphs did really, really great, I think, for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's short and sweet and to the point. Number two, it's only 10 minutes long. Number three, it's an interesting topic, right? For especially people on our channel that love leopard geckos. But also number four, I think YouTube tapped me into the successful top 5 people of the YouTube community. So if let me show you this here. Now, I was never trying to be like this. I was never trying to be like Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles. I saw this guy grow from like 20,000 followers to 230,000 followers in just like the last year. Absolutely insane growth rate. But what he does is a little bit different than what I do. What I do is I'm a breeder who shares breeding tips and talks openly about the breeding world. And, I do these live streams to kind of be there for people who are into breeding. He's more on the entertainment side of keeping. But look how he's grown his channel. Top 5 scariest reptiles, top 5 bulletproof reptiles, 5 popular reptiles, top 5 smelliest reptiles, 5 more reptiles that act like dogs, top 5 most difficult reptiles to tame. So he and another guy called Clint from Clint's Reptiles. So if you guys know Clint's Reptiles, these are 2 big popular YouTube channels. Clint. Sorry, I wasn't showing any of that. 5 reptiles, 5 amazing lizards, 5 amazing snakes, 5 amazing turtles, 5 amazing lizards. You guys get the point. These guys, Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles has given credit to Clint for inspiring him to do the top 5s. I've never been a top 5 kind of person. I've always been more of a breeder that shares on a breeder level because that's what I am. However, I do want to grow the channel. And I think to grow the channel, releasing more videos like that will help me start branching out and being more than just a breeder, but also being bringing in new reptile keepers like these channels do by advertising with kind of basic, simple, but still fun to watch videos. And that's why these guys gather a lot of attention to their channels. They're great guys and everything like that, but their content is simple to digest, interesting, and they're great people at the end of the day and great personalities. So people like them and people follow them. But I never intended to go that route. I've always intended to go the route of a breeder. However, the route of a breeder doesn't really grow your YouTube channel very much. The reason is because comparatively, there's not a lot of breeders compared to keepers, right? Keepers that watch those types of videos and really enjoy those types of videos and get, go down that path. Those kinds of keepers, they're not necessarily looking for the information that I'm giving out, like escape-free feeder dishes, how to breed leopard geckos on a minimalistic setup. Like all of that is cost-effective for business purposes, and it does apply to some keepers that do want to breed. So don't get me wrong, I'll still be doing videos like that, and of course answering questions, and I'll always be here for you guys. You guys know my number, 480-299-7657. I'll take a phone call any time of day from any of you guys and help out. But I know it's fun to collaborate like this on a group level. Anyway, I'm rambling a bit now, but at the end of the day, I think my heart's desiring right now is to start giving time to growing the YouTube channel. And for me to do that, it means that I would have to probably pull out of one of the live stream days at least. And there's a couple reasons for that. I've been doing some research into whether live streams help or hurt your channel's growth. And there are more people that say it hurts your channel's growth than there are people that say it helps your channel's growth. Now, both groups agree on one thing. The customer interaction, Wicked's Reptiles is more like child videos. Yeah, but that's what's getting him followers. 200,000 followers. And of those followers, you can then convert those followers into breeders and into people that want to take their passion to the next level. So at the end of the day, I'm a breeder, and I would like to focus on that. I don't plan to make videos like Wicked's Wicked Reptiles right now, like top 5 scariest reptiles. I may do some videos like that, but more or less what I'm planning on doing, where did my phone go? Because I wrote it down in my phone. More or less what I'm planning on doing is combining the popularity of that style of a video with the popularity of the niche group of people, which is you guys, that want to know more about breeding. For example, my next video, and I'll give you guys a heads up, I'm pretty excited about it because if you haven't seen these pictures, I think you're going to enjoy it. My next video is going to be the top 5 strangest leopard gecko morphs, or I'm not sure what I'm titling it yet. Either weirdest morphs, oddest morphs, or strangest morphs. I literally typed those all out and I looked at it, and to me, Oddest, ODDEST, caught my eye more. That was just to me. So my next video that I release, which is probably going to be Wednesday, is going to be top 5 oddest leopard gecko morphs. So there are 5 leopard gecko morphs out there that are really, really odd or completely unique, like they're non-replicatable, like you can't replicate it. And I want to make that in a video. And so that'll be, thank you for that input there. Norman says oddest. Yeah, oddest is kind of, I think, a term that more people relate to and can identify with when you see it. If you look at the word like strangest, it's a bit long, and weirdest is also a bit long. It just doesn't catch your eye as much as odd. I'll never do clickbait stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, oh, this alligator bit my hand off, and then, show a video of like a little cut. You know what I mean? But I will make thumbnails and titles and descriptions that are attractive, right? So like top 5 oddest leopard geckos. That's going to be like my next video, right? And so in a person's mind who either knows or doesn't know about leopard geckos, they're like, maybe I want to see some odd leopard geckos. What's an abnormal leopard gecko, right? Like I know a leopard gecko is like black and yellow with bands. So I'll make like interesting titles and thumbnails and stuff like that, but I won't do clickbaity stuff where it's like I won't be telling you like, oh, I gave $1 million to somebody just to get you to click on it. And then like I only gave $1,000 to somebody or something. So if that's what you mean by clickbait, I have no plans on doing that whatsoever. But there is something in the YouTube realm. If you are trying to grow a channel, you do need to have catchy titles, catchy thumbnails, and stuff that's already working and successful for other people. So like I know what's successful for Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles and Clint's Reptiles. And I think that's why one of the reasons this video was so successful this last week, the last video that I made, was because it was labeled top 5. So YouTube, instead of promoting it to only my normal audience, which is you guys, which is very, very niche. I want you guys to know you guys are very, very niche. The word niche means specific. In the world of reptiles, there's crocodiles, alligators, snakes, geckos, Komodo dragons. There's so many reptiles that exist. That's a broad general category. Then you guys are into leopard geckos. But not only are you guys into leopard geckos, you're into breeding leopard geckos, a subset of a subset of a subset of the reptile category. That was my initial plan coming into YouTube, was I just wanted to focus on leopard gecko breeding because that's my main passion, my number one thing. But eventually I'll probably start branching out into some other topics. But for now, I'm finding a lot of success with leopard gecko topics. So instead of doing like what Wiccan's Wicked Reptiles is doing, he's doing top 5 blah, blah, blah for like every single species of reptile. I don't want to do that just yet. I want to do a bunch of top 5s that are leopard gecko related. So this next one is going to be like top 5 oddest leopard gecko morphs. The next one after that might be like top 5 leopard gecko substrates. And then the next video after that might be like top 5 leopard gecko water bowl options. Food bowl options could be another video. Top 5 ways to make a humid hide for a leopard gecko, you know? And I'll show a variety of like breeding styles and keeping styles that, you know, what different people do. And so that could be kind of fun because a lot of you guys know some of that stuff already, but at the same time, you might think it's worth 5 to 10 minutes out of your day to be like, let me just double check. Let me see if there's anything new. Let me see if, you know, he shows anything I hadn't seen before. Because I'm always watching other people's content and video to learn, because when somebody does something different that I've never seen before, it gives me an idea to do something different or improve in some way. You know what I mean? So like right now, I don't think it's really proven yet, but there's like a lot of leopard gecko breeders that are experimenting with like bee pollen in their food. And they do say to not go overboard with that because it is a sugar at the end of the day, and that can overdose and be bad for your animals. I'm more on the simpler side of things. I'm like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like my animals are perfectly fine and healthy with the osteoform and the vionate mixture, but I'm always looking at stuff like that for different ideas to improve myself, number one, but also suggestions that I can present to you guys, you know, to keep things, you know, interesting. So yeah, his top 5 scariest reptiles included a Chinese cave gecko. Oh, that's great. Okay. At the end of the day, if you have 200,000 subscribers, that's going to be bringing you a decent amount of change. Let me do the math real quick. And I'm not saying the math is going to work exactly like this, but with 5,000 subscribers, I make about $100 a month. So let's just say I grew our channel to 200,000 subscribers, 200,000 divided by 5,000, which is what I'm at right now. So Wiccan's channel is 40 times the size of our channel. I make $100 a month. Times 40, that would be $4,000 a month that he would be making off of ad revenue. That's just ad revenue. That's not counting sponsors and stuff like that he does work with now because of how big he is. So it's not that I want to make YouTube my full-time job or by any means or anything like that. But, you know, in this world, you have passions that you want to go for, and I have a passion for reptiles, but I also have a passion for YouTube, and there is something about the desire to grow. So like when I first started releasing videos, I've always wanted to grow, but it's never been like super important to me. So that's why I've always just released videos that I wanted to make. But there is a strategy when you do make the decision that you actually want to take it to the next level and grow at an exponentially faster rate than you were before. There is a strategy that you want to implement to grow. And that strategy is picking topics and videos that are a little bit simpler to digest, more relatable, already popular in the reptile hobby, and that will get you some traction and some momentum to propel your channel forward a lot. I want to use another example real quick, and maybe some of you guys follow this guy. I think this is the name of his channel. Yep. So I'll be 100% honest. I'm not the biggest fan of this guy's channel. And it doesn't mean I'm the big. It doesn't mean I'm not the biggest fan of this guy. What's his name? See, I'm not even sure of his name. I think he's a cool guy. He's got like a real like Viking kind of haircut and personality to him. Look at him, pretty cool. So I can see why people definitely subscribe. But about a year ago, he was only at like 5,000 subscribers, or maybe like 8,000 subscribers a year ago. And I took note of where he was at because he was at 8,000 subscribers. He already said that he was doing reptiles full time. Now, he must have other jobs going on because at 8,000 subscribers, I can tell you, you're only making like $150 a month off of YouTube ad revenue. And his videos don't get an outstanding amount of views. If you have 8,000 subscribers and your videos get an outstanding amount of views, you can make more than $150 a month. But his videos, it's just average. It's not crazy views per video. I would actually say his views are on the lower side of his per video release. However, his consistent content, and I really don't know what has propelled him to grow, but he's went from 8,000 subscribers to 19,000 subscribers in just a year. Now, there is a little bit of I don't want to say it's a cheat necessarily, but when you have more subscribers, YouTube will promote your videos more, and your snowball effect of growth will get bigger and bigger and bigger. Because the types of videos that he does are actually not the types of videos that I would have used to grow a channel necessarily, but it worked for him. So like this video that he just released today, I didn't get invited to the Snake Discovery build off. I lost $1,000 vending my first reptile expo. He's really into tokays, which is pretty cool because not a lot of people are into tokays. Tokay Talk with patternless expert Tokay something. This is the best place for reptile feeders. Okay, some of these topics are kind of very general and they would catch a general watcher's attention. I also think it's his overall look and vibe. He has a very like Viking vibe, like bikester look to him, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of people relate to that. But look at this video that did horrible. Top 5 reptile poops. So see, you have to be very specific with the titles, the type of videos that you choose to make. You can't just make any top 5 video and expect it to do well. It only got 700 views in 3 months. You know, that's terrible considering like this video, Tortoise Gets Amazing New Home, got 1,300 views in 9 days. Anyway, so this is the type of stuff that you kind of consider and look at when you're growing a channel. you can't just name or make any video you want to grow. And although he makes a lot of videos that I would say are not good for growth, he does make a lot of videos that are good for growth, and he makes them consistently. And I think that's why he's grown so much over this last year. To go from 8,000 subscribers to 18,000, hats off to him. Kudos. That's an excellent job for him to do that. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of the trajectory that I would like to go. We are steamrolling right now. Because of our last video, it really encouraged me to show me just how much growth is possible. So check out, well, actually, no, let's go to the analytics of my channel. So compared to last month, check this out. Compared to last month, we were averaging about 260 subscribers every 30 days. Now we're averaging 306 just since the release of this video a week ago. In 1 week and one video, we've increased our overall subscriber monthly rate by almost 40 people a month just for making that one video. Our views are normally around 50,000 views a month. Just from that one video, we're a week ago, we're now at 61,000 views, 10,000 more views in just a week. Our watch time is normally 2,500 hours. Right now it's at 2,700 hours. And our estimated monthly revenue is normally about $95 a month. But since releasing that video a week ago, mind you, a week ago, only one video, we're up to $116 per month. So what that's telling me is if I release more videos along the lines of that video and they perform well, which is partly because of you guys. So I appreciate that, because YouTube always looks at you guys first. As soon as I release a video, it looks at my core audience. Does my core audience like the video? And if they do, then YouTube uses that to expand it to other people that might be slightly outside your core audience or your subscriber list. You know what I mean? So forgive me if this topic is kind of boring to you guys. I just kind of wanted to talk about it because, you know, I'm very open with like my desires, and I want to keep you guys in the loop. You guys have always been loyal and faithful and dedicated here. I mean, look, we have like 20 or more people every single week, you know, somewhere between 20 and 30 people that chime in on our Mondays and Fridays. And that's a lot of dedication and loyalty, you know, consistently. So like, even if one person leaves, another person's replacing them because it's always at 20 to, you know, about 20 people or so. So I'll kind of read back over some of your comments and stuff as time goes on, and you know, kind of see some of the stuff that you guys were saying. But those are the thoughts in my head. How do you guys feel about that? I don't want to disappoint you guys because I know you really like this time. It's just tough, you know, to come in here and to prepare the live stream is like 2 hours. Videos take way more time to shoot and edit and record. And a video on average, like the last video that I made, probably took somewhere between like 8 to 10 hours to shoot it, to record it, to edit it, to promote it, answer questions, comment back on it, all that kind of stuff. I'm probably looking at like 8 hours for that 10-minute video. If you think about that for a second, that 10-minute video took 8 hours of my time. That's like 1 day in a 9 to 5. Like if you go to a 9 to 5, that's 1 day's worth of work. And that's without a lunch break. That's 8 hours without a lunch break. So what I mean by that is if I take a lunch break, that means that I'm picking it up after lunch. And by the time I'm done with the video, it might be like 10 hours because maybe I took a 2-hour lunch or an hour lunch or something. Benefits of being your own boss. You could take a 2-hour lunch if you want, but it just means you're going to be working later into the night. But when I say that video took me 8 hours, I mean it took 8 hours of actual editing and all of that to get that to the point of where I can release it. And that's just a 10-minute video. And that's another thing. Some of my videos are 20 minutes. Those videos would take 10 to 12 hours with my experience level now. When I was a novice, like 2 years ago, when I first started, about a year and a half ago, my videos were taking on average 18 to 20 hours of actual edit time, not including breaks or lunch breaks. 18 to 20 hours of actual recorded on the clock editing time. So if I was to make 2 videos a week, that's about 16 hours a week that I would be dedicating to making 2 10-minute videos. And then I would also be dedicating about 2 to 3 hours to promote and interview and all that stuff for our 1 live stream a week, if that's the route that I wind up going. I haven't made my final decision yet. I wanted to talk to you guys about it first. Whitney does think it's a good idea because she sees how much I push myself over here, how hard I work, and sometimes it gets a little tiresome, because at the end of the day, I still got to take care of 1,000 animals, and those animals need food, those animals need water, those animals need me to take pictures of them for you guys who want to buy those animals, so there's a lot of burden and pressure that I put on myself to make sure those animals are taken care of as best as I can. And I don't want to spread myself too thin, and I still want to enjoy myself while growing the channel at the same time. So I feel like for me, this is just how I feel like I think it would be a little more exciting for me to put in the time and effort to start growing the channel more in releasing those 2 videos a week, or at minimum 1 video a week, and just sticking to the 1 live stream. So I don't know. I'm rambling on a little bit now. I probably missed a bunch of your questions and stuff like that. I like this guy's statement though. Yeah, his top 5 scariest reptiles included a Chinese cave gecko. Yes, but I get the poking fun. I get it. I get the poking fun. But at the same time, I have to do some stuff like that too, and I have to poke fun at myself a little bit too, because at the end of the day, it's what you have to do to be successful in the YouTube world, Like if we go to Brian Barczyk's videos, I've actually just started watching Brian Barczyk's videos more. I don't know why. I find some of his vlog. I used to never be a vlog person. I was always an information person. Like, no, I don't want to see about your day. I want to learn how to incubate leopard gecko eggs. I want to learn how to breed leopard geckos. I want to learn how many times a day I should spray down a crested gecko cage. I don't want to watch. I switched jobs with my employees for the day, right? This was Brian Barczyk's latest video, but look how much I watched. I watched, how much of this did I watch? It's a 19-minute video, and I'm probably about 17 minutes in. I gave 17 minutes of my life. I was probably on the pooper for those 17 minutes, so it's a multitask, right? But I gave 17 minutes of my life that I could have been spending somewhere else. I watched him kind of in a play movie type way interact with his son and his employees in switching roles for the day, and it was funny. I liked it. I enjoyed it. But that's because I already know what I need for my business to be operating and running. And although I'm always looking for improvements, I have more time to spare nowadays on entertainment instead of education. When I was first starting, I needed everything to be more about like education, Oh, Sir Gugu, you're so underrated. People told me that like 2 years ago when I was making like really hardcore, intricate leopard gecko videos that like nobody else was making, that went like more in detail than anything else. A lot of those videos didn't even get a lot of views. You know why? I labeled them wrong. I titled them wrong. I did not make the best thumbnail. And I like I said, I spent 20 hours on some of those videos, and they only got a couple hundred views. And they were popular topics like Punnett squares, recessive and dominant traits, breeding leopard geckos, genetics in leopard geckos. I would spend 20 hours in multiple of these videos to get no views. And I didn't care, because back then I was just practicing. I was just releasing my passion. I was just teaching what I know and trying to help others, whether it was one person or 100 people. But today, I know better. I know how to market on YouTube. I know how to promote. I know how to make a thumbnail. I know how to make a catchy title slash description. I know better today than I did back then. And so it would almost be foolish of me to not take what I know now and put that into play to grow. Because at the end of the day, all this time you're spending, it would be nice if you got the appropriate amount of views for the amount of time that you put in. You know what I mean? So that would be pretty cool. Anyway, Cody says, hit the like button. Really appreciate it. Supreme Gecko, love you, bro. He hit the like button. Ashley Cox, do you have any tips for first-year breeders on getting their name out in the world? So if you're talking about leopard geckos, Ashley, I would get your name out there slowly. I got my name out there very quick, and I got a lot of backlash for it for a couple reasons. Obviously, you guys know that, you know, I was and still am experimenting with the lemon frost, and a lot of people didn't like that. And a lot of people would have been more accepting of that had I not talked about it, had I just done it behind the scenes and not mentioned it at all. But that's not really my style. Now, going back, would I change things? Maybe, because at the end of the day, I don't want to push people away. That's not my goal. And if there's something I could do to avoid that, then I'll do everything in my power to do that. Hindsight is 2020, right? And back when I first came into the hobby, I was like, you know, I was newer to the hobby, and I was releasing a lot of information. I was dropping a lot of videos and I caught a lot of attention. And a lot of that attention turned negative when I did not take the advice of certain people. Now, not every hobby is this way, but the leopard gecko hobby is very, very hierarchy based. If you're in the leopard gecko hobby and you want to slowly grow a reputation and be successful, then this is just what I might suggest, not coming in the way I did. I came in guns blazing. I don't care what you think. I'm going to say what I want. I'm going to do what I want kind of attitude. And although I did not mean it at all in a bad way, and although the people that gave me issues really should not have given me as big of an issue as they did, although those two things are true, every hobby is different. And knowing what I know today about how strict the leopard gecko hobby is, I might have done things differently coming in because it's a small world. And if you have a bad name in a small world, that echoes loudly. I don't really care so much what those people think anymore, but at the end of the day, I can admit that it has affected my bottom line. And the bottom line as a business is your success and profitability. Now, I'm successful with you guys. I have plenty of successful followers still, but had I maybe not been so controversial, had I not come in so guns blazing, I probably, and I say this in quotes because I don't know if this would have been true, I probably would have been able to collaborate more and be partnering more with some of the top people in the hobby right now and just having fun talking geckos. And even if I have my own thoughts and things that I want to pursue off to the side, I could still get along with them because I'm more submissive to them. Does that make sense? When I first came in, a lot of them were giving me like an ultimatum, right? The ultimatum was do things our way or we're going to end you. That was the ultimatum. Ultimatum? ultimatum. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. So if you want to be successful in the leopard gecko world, just know that the leopard gecko hobby specifically is very small as far as the influence of breeders that influence the hobby. They have a lot of pull. You know what I mean? They have a lot of muscle, so to speak. And if they want to try to muscle you out, they're going to put up a fair fight, you know? They have put up a contendable, even though I have social media followings that are 10 times the size of some of these people, they have put up a commendable fight against me. They have turned many people against me. They have slandered and defamed my name to the infinite degree to where I still get hate messages and hate mail today. And I want to avoid that. I don't want that to be the case. That's not me as a person. I'm not a hateful person in general. Even if we don't see eye to eye, I want to talk to you. I want to conversate with you. I want to get along with you. But at the end of the day, the leopard gecko hobby is not that way. So I suggest if you want tips on getting a successful name in the leopard gecko hobby, don't do what I did and come in guns blazing and doing what you want to do, saying what you want to do. I mean, you can still do that, but don't be so vocal about it, so to speak, and be a little bit more submissive and willing to listen to the people that do have influence in the hobby. Because at the end of the day, I'm kind of riding solo. There's not a lot of breeders and people that, want to actively have their name associated with mine in the leopard gecko world. Let me say this, in the leopard gecko world, because of the controversy. They may like me. They may have no problem with me. They may disagree with a couple of the things I do. But at the end of the day, they're concerned about their own brand image. And I get it. I respect that, And so if I'm being honest, to give you guys advice, it would be to be more submissive. I'm not the hierarchy of the leopard gecko world. I have my own little section over here, so to speak, that I'm trying to develop and make into something different than the hierarchy, sort of dictatorship ruled section of the hobby. I'm trying to create a new section of the hobby where many different breeders can get along, and even if they disagree, and many different breeders can collaborate and promote each other. And that's kind of, some of the people that you see on my shows and some of the people that I interact with, they are people that are willing to take that risk along with me, because they know and they see some of the things that are said about me out there on the internet and done towards me and all that kind of stuff. But I like to think that they know that my intentions are pure at the end of the day, and my intentions are just to have fun talking geckos, promoting the hobby, collaborating with others, helping others grow, pushing others up instead of tearing others down. That's the core principles that I would like to develop in this area of the leopard gecko hobby. But the area that rules the leopard gecko hobby right now is over here. Wait, whatever the opposite side that I just did the first time was. The people that rule the leopard gecko hobby right now are on the opposite side. So I would just be humble. I would just only work and promote genetics that are clean and pure and good lines. If you get some backlash from people that are like, oh, you shouldn't do this, shouldn't do that, then come to me and ask me what they're backlashing to you about, so that you could understand why, and then you can react based off of understanding why before you respond to them emotionally. Because if you respond to them emotionally, like, who are you to tell me what to do? I can do what I want with my geckos. If you respond like that, immediately they're going to try to cancel you, and you get they actually have a blacklist. These people that I'm talking about, they actually have a blacklist of people they won't associate with, people they won't sell to, people they won't talk to. You know what I mean? You don't want to get put on their blacklist right now while they control the hobby. And I don't want to say they control the hobby, but they have a huge influence over the hobby. And so you asked me a question, Ashley, about brand reputation. And right now, the way things sit right now at this moment in the leopard gecko hobby, brand recognition is very, very fickle. And those people that control the hobby that I was talking about right now, you kind of want to be on their good side. Even if that means you have to bite your tongue, even if that means you have to swallow your pride, even if that means you have to say and do things that maybe you don't want to 100% say or do. Now, feel free to not take this advice, but if you go against them, they will blacklist you. That's just my warning. So, like, if you don't care about getting blacklisted, then hey, do what I did. Guns blazing. I'll have a spot for you over here in my community. I won't blacklist you unless you're like showing videos of you like torturing animals on purpose or something. You know, we all have our limits, right? And like, my limit as far as collaborating with now I would even have a conversation with somebody that was like torturing animals on purpose. I'd bring them on the show. I'd have a conversation with them and try to understand where they're coming from, because at the end of the day, I'm not perfect, they're not perfect, we're all not perfect. I've done heinous things, they are doing or have done heinous things, and so at the end of the day, I don't want to condemn them, even though I don't agree with them, and I might even judge what they're doing as wrong from my perspective. Who am I as a human being to condemn another human being? At the end of the day, we all have evil thoughts, evil actions, evil motives, evil this, evil that. And so I'm almost no better than them in some aspects when you compare it to a perfect standard, right? What standard are we using to call a human a good human, right? Anyway, that's topic for another discussion. But my main point is, it would take a lot for me to blacklist you, so to speak, and be like, no, I'm not going to have you back on the show, or no, I don't want to associate with you. It would take a lot for that. You know what I mean? And a lot of that has to do with, you know, my faith. You guys know, you know, I'm a believer in the Bible and Jesus and all that stuff. And I look at the life of Jesus, and he interacted with people that were hypocrites, and he even called them hypocrites. But I'm not Jesus, so I don't want to necessarily be like just out there hypocrite, you know, crazy, pointing my fingers. I try to point out hypocrisies when I see it, but at the end of the day, I'm not condemning that person. I'm just pointing out the fact that they're judging me without first judging themselves. And if they were to judge themselves, they would see that they're guilty of some of the same negligences that they're judging me for. And so anyway, that whole love your enemies, treat others the way you want to be treated kind of thing, I try to apply that as much as possible, even to people who have opposing or controversial views to me. So that's very important to me. That's a foundational, pivotal, you know, like, what are those things that hold up temples or whatever, like anchor point or whatever. But that would be my suggestion on that. Any tips to help sell first-year hatchlings? So in addition to that, Ashley, I would also promote your stuff on some kind of social media presence, Facebook or Instagram. Learn how to grow on Facebook or Instagram. Actually research it on YouTube. How do I grow on Facebook? How do I grow on Instagram? And then put that into play on your own channel. Davey Boy, people buy subs. Yeah, I guess you could buy you could buy followers on Instagram. You could buy followers on Facebook by paying for ads. I don't know how you could buy followers on YouTube, but I'm sure it's possible. So I just don't know how. So I actually have a TikTok, Sir Gugu, and we have like 3,000 followers on TikTok, and we have a couple semi-viral videos on TikTok, like in the hundreds of thousands of views. The reason I have not gone more into TikTok is because I already spend a lot of time on Instagram and YouTube. But as I grow in the future, I'll definitely be putting more time into TikTok when I have more free time as well. So that's going to be Geeky Gecko Creations on TikTok. And by the way, when I was talking about possibly changing things up, I'll keep you guys notified, whether it's through a YouTube post or an announcement on a live or like a YouTube short or something. I'll keep you guys posted if I change things up. For now, we're still doing lives on Mondays and Friday with our guest, and I'm going to start being committed to releasing a new video every Wednesday. But I might be switching some of those around, like I was saying, because I do want to start releasing 2 videos a week. I think maybe I'll do 1 video a week and 1 live stream a week. That way I'm not pressuring myself too much, because we're in a huge growth phase right now where I'm probably pumping out like 1,000 baby lepre geckos or so this season, and I have to find homes for them. I have to set them up. I have to grow them. I have to feed them and take care of them and take pictures of them. So that's a lot increase from where I was last year. And so anyway, we'll see how things go, but please try not to judge me too negatively if I change things on the drop of a dime and I make a community post like, hey, I'm no longer going to be able to do Monday live streams and we're moving it to Fridays. Just for now, everything's the same. But if I make an announcement, just please be understanding if you can, as much as possible. So I appreciate that. Let's see. So does expos grow your popularity? In a way, if you have, in a way, yes. It also depends if expos are popular in your area. I'll give a great example of this. Many of you guys know this gentleman. This gentleman, actually, he's growing a little bit now. Geckos, etc., has been around for like 20 years, selling high quality leopard geckos, high quality skinks, high quality. Shoot, why is my name? Why is the name of this animal spacing on me right now? Hognose snakes. He, without putting it lightly, Geckos, etc., is one of the top leopard gecko breeders in the entire world. Does not have a YouTube channel. He only has 13,000 subscribers on Instagram, and I don't think he has the biggest Facebook following as well. But he has a decent Instagram, a decent Facebook. He's been around a long time, and he does a crumb ton of shows. So I don't know how many shows he does, but he does a lot of shows. And so but he's in California, and California is a very popular reptile state. If you're in Colorado per se, Colorado might not be a very popular reptile state. So even if you did shows, that might not really grow your company so much. And if you missed our conversation about the profitability of shows, it takes a lot to be profitable at a show. When you buy one table at a show, just expect that you're going to be in the hole about $400 to $500 right off the bat for the price of that table, the price of supplies, the price of gas, the price of employees or help that you might need to bring to that show, the price of everything, display cases. You might be in the hole $400 to $500 in 1 second. And you might not sell any geckos because there's a lot of people at that show. And so if you were to do shows, you have to be prepared not to sell any animals and say, is it worth it for me to lose $500 just to meet people that are brand new to the reptile hobby for the most part? Because most of the people that go to shows, they're not looking to spend a lot of money, and a lot of them are brand new to the hobby. They heard it from a friend. They heard it from, what is that song? They heard it from a friend who heard it from a friend who. Yeah, anyway, I'm a terrible singer. Anyway, you get the point, is that show promoters when they promote a show, they do a ton of advertising on billboards, in reptile stores, everywhere, to bring in people that are sometimes not, that's their first time ever interacting with reptiles. And so you can't really expect to be making $1,000, $2,000 if you're just a single breeder with one table. I can tell you, I've done shows, you know, consider me as popular in social media as you want to consider me, but I've only bought one table for the last 3 shows, and every single show I've just about broke even. What do I mean by that? What I mean is, if I spent $500 to run that show, I only made $500 back. So it wasn't even profitable for me. I broke even and I lost my voice, because you will lose your voice talking to people, especially if you're excited for 16 hours a weekend to talk to people. And oh my gosh, is it tiring? You're bringing them back in the next day. So shows are very, very tiring and time consuming. So I would not say that shows are actually even the way to make money. Um, the leopard gecko world is a very tough market right now. There's a lot of competition. I was just looking at black knights right now on Morph Market. Did you know there's 200 black knights on Morph Market right now, and a lot of them are like pure black, and they're only going for $1,000. So that's how competitive the leopard gecko market is. 2 years ago, those black knights would have been going for $3,000. Now they're going for $1,000. That shows you, and they're not selling that quickly at $1,000. The leopard gecko world is a very competitive world, and the average consumer in leopard geckos does not want to spend more than $50 to $100. So keep that in mind. If you have geckos for $50 to $100, you'll probably sell them decently, but there's 3,000 other geckos on Morph Market that are in the $50 range. So you kind of need to build an audience of your own on Instagram and other social media platforms. So I hope that helps. Rodriguez, what's going on, man? Another Arizona brother. Not sure if he's still here, but some of our Tegu breeding stock is from him. He's really awesome. We've had him on a live stream. He likes the haircut. That's really cool. Gecko Punk in the house. I am bald like you. Yes. So I don't know if actually this is the first. Yeah, this is the first time you guys saw me. No, Friday you guys saw me bald, but I don't think I told anybody, because I was talking to Gecko behind the scenes. When I shaved my head last week, I actually shaved it with a razor, and I've never done that in my life because I have very sensitive skin. If I go against the grain, I'm 33 years old, and you would think like all my pimple season would be done, but like you could even see, like, see that? I have a pimple growing in right there. I have a pimple growing in right there. And I'm 33. I shouldn't have pimples growing in. But when I shaved my head, I went against the grain for a lot of my hairs. And every time I go against the grain, I get ingrown hairs. And this time I was hoping it would be different, but it wasn't. Now, it was super fun shaving my head. I shave in the shower, by the way. I get a shower mirror. I hang it on a little thing, and the steam and all that really helps with releasing the hair, since I get ingrown hairs easily. And I was shaving my head, and I was like, oh, this is pretty fun. I've never, ever shaved my head before with an actual razor. You know what I mean? So, yeah. And when it comes to making content, just have fun with it. Everyone's got to start somewhere. If I say make videos on what you're passionate about, start there. And I can even share with you some video editing software that's free and different things that I use, because I'm all about the cheapy cheapy. If I could do it for free, I'm going to do it, even if it's a little extra work compared to like paying for a program. But there are very good free options out there. I don't pay for my editing software. I don't pay for my thumbnail software, you know? So like, if you have questions about that stuff, let me know. And then you could watch videos on it. and learn, how to do it more as well. Well, thank you so much, Henry. I appreciate those kind words. What would you say your profit margin is on each gecko sold? I'm not paying myself a salary yet, and that needs to be taken into account. But I would say the gross profit margin on each gecko sold is probably about, well, the gross profit margin is pretty high. For example, if a gecko cost, let's just use a high dollar amount because this will make more sense. If a gecko costs $1,000, I'm going to lose in shipping. I'm going to lose about $20 to $25 in the price of the box, the price of shipping, and the price of cooling. I'm going to lose about $25. So let's see what that is. 25. Actually, it's going to be about $20. $20 divided by $1,000 is 2%. So the profit margin on that animal is 98%. But that's not counting paying an employee, or that's not counting the food cost of the animals. So I'm going to have to get back to you on that number. I can tell you the profit margin of the company in general. Actually, this was a really good month for us. Let me share this while we're talking about profit margins. This month, in the last 2 weeks, we probably sold about $4,000 worth of tegus, geckos, dubia roaches, rats, and let's just say like YouTube revenue. So we've probably no, take out YouTube revenue because this is this month. Okay, let's do this month including YouTube revenue. We've probably made close to $4,000 this month in revenue. The expenses that I made this month is probably close to, I want to say, $2,000 of expenses for that $4,000 profit. So that leaves me this month with about $2,000 profit, but that's only this month. Not every month is this successful for us, I think it will be moving forward in the future, especially as we start selling our more higher dollar animals and we have more animals to sell, because we really never had a lot of animals to sell, and now we're starting to have a lot of animals to sell. So at the beginning stages of what is looking to be our profitable months, this month we profited $2,000, but I did not pay myself yet. Okay. So if I was working a regular 9-to-5 job, I would be making for, let's see, my last job was close to $50,000 a year. $50,000 a year divided by 12 months. That's $4,000 a month minus taxes and all that. So let's take away taxes out of that, which actually I still need to tax. Even if I was paying myself as an employee, I would still need to tax that anyway. So we could just consider all of this untaxed for now. So at my last job, which was Allstate Insurance Company, I was making about $4,000 a month before taxes. This month in my company, Geeky Gecko Creations, I only made $2,000 before taxes and before paying myself. So if I was to pay myself the same thing that I was making at Allstate, which is $4,000 a month, then I would be negative $2,000 this month. So if you own a reptile business, you need to make at least $4,000 a month gross to be able to compete with like a minimum wage job, right? Because even at a minimum wage job, you could, or I shouldn't say minimum wage job, but I mean average jobs that a blue collar worker could get, right? Almost anybody can get those blue collar jobs here in Arizona. At least everyone's place is different, but in Arizona, it's very easy to get. If you have, high school degree, college diploma, whatever the case is, you could very easily get a job starting at like $40,000 a year. And within the first year, you could be making close to $50,000 a year. So for reptiles, you need to consider expenses of maybe like $20,000 in addition to that $50,000. So you really need to, I don't know, my brain's confused. I'm rambling on, but you would probably need to make like $70,000 a year as a reptile company just to make the same amount of money that you are making on a government job. But the benefit is you work for yourself. You know what I mean? It's long hours. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of dealing with animals, and customer service and all that kind of stuff. You could probably make a lot more money in many other careers with the amount of time that you're putting in to make that 70,000. However, you're getting to work with reptiles and talk to you wonderful people and do what you love. So let's just assume right now that a reptile company has about 50% profit margins after taxes and expenses are taken out of the equation. And you have to remember, an employee is an expense. So if you need to pay an employee $50,000 a year to run your reptile business, like me, I'd like to pay myself like $50,000 a year one day, 3 to 5 years from now to run this business, minus taxes and all that kind of stuff. For the actual reptile company to be profitable, I'd have to make more than 70,000 because the employee is 50,000 a year. All the other expenses are about $20,000 a year. Food for the animals, housing, replacements, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff is about 20,000. And that's not even counting new investments. So new investments meaning new animals that you purchase to create new projects. That's not including the 20,000. 20,000 is just what you need to run the operation. Like these baby tegus go through like 10 pounds of meat a week. So think about your local grocery store, and I might have these tegus for 2 months. You know what I mean? I might go through 200 pounds of meat before I sell all these tegus, and that's an expense. So expenses for a reptile company are probably going to be like $20,000 a year. An employee is going to be about $50,000 a year for a reptile company. So you're looking at about $70,000 a year of total expenses. So when you talk about profit margin and stuff, you need to make more than $70,000 a year in reptile sales to be profitable in your business. And even then, the government taxes you. So if you make $80,000 minus $70,000 of expenses and you profited $10,000, the government's going to take like 15 to 20% of that for self-employment tax, as well as whenever you take money out of an LLC, out of a company, they tax that as well, like another 8%. So the total taxes on that 10 grand would probably bring you down more to like 6 grand. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, the government's going to take 20 to 25% of your profits as a company. So yeah, I mean, the world of business is rough, but you work for yourself. You call your own shots. You are your own boss. So I hope that helps. But D's Gex. Yeah, and I don't believe anyone does have the right to torture a gecko. I'm just saying, pillars. Yes, Wally, pillars. The only thing that I'm saying is pull out the plank out of your own, or pull out the speck out of your own eye before you try to pull the plank out of other people's eyes. A lot of times we're so focused on, the planks in other people's eyes, like these big noticeable things in their eyes. We don't notice our own specks. We don't notice our own hypocrisies, our own judgments on others. You know what I mean? Our own non-generosities or unkindness. You know what I mean? We laugh at things that could be considered cruel to other people, you know, and so we don't recognize our own faults, and we're so focused on the faults of others. But I totally agree. I don't believe animals should be purposely tortured at all. I'm just saying I'm not God, and I don't like to condemn people. I can judge people. I can be like, yeah, that's not right. And I can even talk to them and be like, yeah, I don't think this is right. But as far as condemnation is concerned, and looking at them, you know, I'm very conscious of my own faults, or I try to be, is what I'm trying to say. And giving people more benefit because of the fact that we're all imperfect as humans. So anyway, I'll move on from that. Never too late, make apologies. Yeah, and Dan says clean up genetic lines, be humble, make apologies, work your way back. I'm good with all of that. I've already apologized behind the scenes to a lot of the guys that I feel like I may have been a little bit provocative to in making some videos or commentary towards, even though they were doing things way worse to me. I did not have to respond with certain things that I was saying and doing with those people. I've already apologized to a lot of them. But also at the end of the day, this is just me, is you don't want others to be in control of free speech, so to speak, right? And so although some of the things that I was saying and doing in genetic lines like the lemon frost can be considered controversial, so to speak, you as a person, as a business, you should have the American right to speak freely and not necessarily be automatically condemned by the hierarchy. And that was where the disconnect was coming in, is I was just telling these guys, hey, look, if you give me a chance, I'm just like you. I love the geckos. I'm experimenting with some things, but so are you guys. There are a lot of experimentations that have taken place in the leopard gecko hobby to get us to the point that we are now. And I use this example all the time. I don't work with Enigma, and I don't have plans on working with Enigma, but there are people out there that have cleaned up the lines of Enigma for those that want to work with Enigma. There are people who have cleaned up the lines of white and yellow. There are people who are right now working on cleaning up the lines of Tangerine and Black Knight that have been so inbred over the years that it causes issues in some of the babies. So my only point to talking to those people is that I'm not that different from them, but they want to squelch your free speech, so to speak. If you don't agree with them, they don't want to hear you out or give you a fair shake. And that was where the disconnect was happening, and so anyway, I would love to still work with those guys and everything. I feel like, not necessarily on my end, but I feel like the animosity that they have towards me is so heavy and so great that I don't know if even if I did come out and recant and apologize or whatever the case is, like publicly, and do everything, even if I did everything they want me to do, I don't think that they would be welcoming to me. And even if they were, they would still want to control my free speech. And so this is the tough line that I'm walking right now, is I want to be friends with those guys and I want to be friendly, but I also want the freedom to speak freely and be able to not be condemned for it, I guess. So I don't know if that makes sense, or if you might have a response to that, but that's the tough decision that I'm in. And so as far as right now is concerned, I'm just riding it out solo. I'm riding it out without them. I'm willing to talk to them and all that kind of stuff. But there are other people in the hobby that do give me a fair shake, like you guys and other big breeders even. But right now I'm happy to be where I am. Like I'm not necessarily like looking to be like pleading necessarily to like get back in these guys' good graces, because I like the trajectory we're on. I've said my piece with them. I've made my apologies to them behind the scenes and said, hey, look, I'm sorry some of the things that I said in retaliation to some of the things that you were doing wasn't right of me. I really apologize. And that just stirred them on more. And I was like, I don't want that to be my intention, because at the end of the day, I care about you as a human being, as a person. I wish well on your family and your kids and your business and your success. And I just want to get along, like I left the ball in their court. I cleaned my side of the street, so to speak. But I also think that the leopard gecko hobby needs a place where people can talk freely and be open and not be condemned for their free speech. And that's what I'm happy to focus on moving towards. Not spending time trying to make things right anymore with these guys, because they're always going to, I shouldn't say always, but they're very strong opinionated, and they have the right to be strong opinionated in what they believe. But I want to create a different atmosphere for people to collaborate in and have fun in and be successful in the leopard gecko hobby. I think that will help the hobby expand and grow ultimately. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. But yeah, if you're only paying 50 to 90 bucks for one table, that's at a show, then that's a good price. Your expenses are going to be way down lower than mine. Mine is $250 per table out here in Arizona. And then, of course, I spend money on gas, display cases. Sometimes I bring Brooke in to help, and I might pay her a little bit for the weekend. All of that for me winds up being like $500-600 of expenses per show, you know? But yeah, some shows are going to be a little bit different. Another cool thing is you can pay to get in with somebody else. So like, let's say you were coming to Arizona and you wanted to vend with me. You could be like, hey, Frank, do you have any extra tables to sell me? And let's say I bought 4 tables, but I only need 3 tables. I mean, I might be like, yeah, you know what? I have an extra table. Why don't I sell you the table? And then you could come with me on show day and you can have that table. So people do stuff like that. It's kind of a workaround, like don't tell the show owners kind of thing. I even asked the show owners if that's technically legal, and technically it's not. So if you are doing that, just kind of do it behind the scenes and they'll let it go. You know what I mean? But Supreme Gecko, we did a show yesterday. One tip: diversify, bring in multiple types of animals. Hard good? Oh, hard goods. Yeah, like yeah, hard goods is like caves, cages, food bowls, that kind of stuff. Merch or whatever, you can offset those show costs if the animals don't sell. Yep, very good advice by Wally over there. I really have to pee. Oh, Estevan gave us a $2 super chat from Estevan Rivas. Thank you so much for that, bro. Really, really appreciate that. Dragonheart, how's it going? Apex is in the house. Oh, yeah. Apex brings up a good point. Super snow was and still is a problem, a genetic problem to a certain degree. If you notice, when you breed snow to snow and super snow to super snow, you might start to see some really weak babies and weak lines, deformed faces and whatnot, So that's why one of my passions is breeding fasciolatus snow, Afghanicus snow, Turkmenicus snow, because ultimately, I think that's going to strengthen up the bloodlines. On top of all the controversy, breakthroughs, innovation, and change come from people that are willing to do something different or research something further to get out there when others quit. And yeah, that's a great point. What if we had stopped trying to make it to the moon because a few astronauts died, right? Like, I totally get the respects to those astronauts that died, but humanity chose to go on to make it to the moon. And guess what? There is a lot of risk involved with our mission to Mars. We've never done it before. Every time we launch men into outer space, now you might not agree with us going to other planets and blah blah blah, but at the end of the day, to get better and to advance in any category in life, you have to take risks, you have to take chances, you have to do things that haven't been done before. I'll never forget one of the classes I took in my business class for my college degree, which was business management, was a class called organizational change. And every single week, all we talked about was being on your toes with change, because change is inevitable. It's the only thing that won't change for the most part, is that things are going to change. And so adapting to that change, finding out new ways to do things, researching things out, finding out what works and what doesn't work, to go along with how hobbies and businesses and industries move and change. That's part of growth, you know? So when you look back, you can see 20 years ago, we were typing on kingsnake.com. This is going to be an age. This is going to be an age challenge for anybody who remembers kingsnake.com. I just went there the other day and it gave me nostalgia, because as a 13-year-old kid, as a 12, 13-year-old kid, I was on kingsnake.com talking to people, bartering with people for reptiles, learning about reptiles. And then there was Facebook, and then there was Instagram, and then there's YouTube. So change happens, and kind of going along with that change is how you grow. So with Afghanicus and stuff, they can breed into any morph. Yep, Afghanicus, fasciolatus, Turkmenicus can be bred into any morph. There are people from Iran in my gaming group tempted to ask about geckos in Iran. Ask them. I've started bookmarking people that I see on YouTube that are in Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan that make leopard gecko videos. And I want to have conversations with them, because I'd love to talk about leopard geckos in the wild with them. But I thank you guys so much. I think I'm all caught up with questions. There's 27 of you guys now in here. See, so people really like the Monday nights, and maybe I won't stop. I don't know. We will see. But if you missed this episode, please watch it back. We talked about some changes that we might be making and just try to have some good conversation. But Kim says, I remember as a kid. Yes, kingsnake.com. I will always remember Norman Davis. Norman goes way back, and so I bet he can appreciate Kingsnake was the #1 place to do reptile business before Facebook happened, and the big boom of Morph Market and social media. I don't know if you guys realize this, but Morph Market's only been around since like 2015. It's a very new company, but they are making great advancements and changes for the interaction of the hobby and business world in reptiles to unite. So I thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Keep an eye out for Wednesday's video, which is going to be the top 5 most odd leopard gecko morphs. I'll see you then. And until then, have a geeky gecko great night, guys. And let me know if you need anything. All right? Peace. Selling in the billions each year, Rainbow Mealworms is your one-stop shop for all your insect needs. Their quality feeders and A+ customer service keep me coming back to support the health and growth of all of our animals. Visit them today at rainbowmealworms.net to place